Hey everybody, this is part 2 to our timeline image searching for primary sources. So now that we've created our timeline images folder, now it's time to go find images to put into the folder so that when our tools such as Dippity or TimeToast or Capsules ask us for images, we know where to send it to find those images. So I'm going to start out on the LMC Wiki, and I'm going to start out in Pathfinders. So I'm going to click over here on Pathfinders. And what I'm looking for is a new one that we just put up. It's called Primary Sources. So I'll click on Primary Sources. And basically, Primary Sources has a little bit of information about what primary sources are, which I'm sure your teachers already covered with you. But basically, these are artifacts that come to us from the past. And these artifacts can take on pretty much any format, as you can see from the list here: journals, letters, diaries, photographs, magazines, documents, physical objects, film, video, audio recordings. What I want to know is, where am I going to go find these things? So I've given you a bunch of different sites here that you can start with. I'm going to start with the Library of Congress today. And when I get to the Library of Congress, I notice right up here it says loc.gov, and .gov tells me right away that this is a government website. And remember from previous work that we've done together that whenever we're using a .gov site, most of the images and documents and artifacts that you're going to find there on these .gov sites are going to be available to us to use without any worries about copyright. So these are all probably public domain images. Remember, .gov is usually means it's an agency of the government, and taxpayer dollars usually fund those agencies of the government, so we have access to them as citizens. So we're going to start our search here. I'm going to leave this on all formats, and right in here I'm going to type Lincoln, and I'm going to grab Abraham Lincoln, and I'll tell it to go. Actually, just went ahead and did it for me. And what I notice is that we have 27,098 returns here. Well, that's a lot, and I don't have time to go through that many. So I want to pare things down. So I notice on the side that the Library of Congress is going to help me do that. They're going to ask me, what are you looking for? And I can see all the different things that I could possibly find. So I think I'm going to go to print drawings and photos first. I want to take a look at that. And when I do that, I get back 1,760 results, a lot better than 27,000, still quite a lot to go through. So I know from my research that there are going to be certain things I want to find. I mean, if you think about your research and those major events or moments that you want to call out, those are the kind of images we're going to look to go with those particular facts. So I'm looking here, and this is kind of a hard way to view results. So I'm going to go click on the gallery over here so I can see them in a slightly different layout. That'll help me out in finding what I'm looking for a little faster. So I noticed that I've got a picture of Abraham Lincoln, photographs relating to Abraham Lincoln. There's photographs relating to Abraham Lincoln. I'm just going to kind of cruise around here and see what I can find. I happen to notice that there's a really cool picture right here. So this picture right here was of some sort of funeral procession, funeral thing, but when I clicked on the one image, what I got was that there's actually a group. And I can see right here it says medium, 8 photographic prints, and it kind of gives me a little synopsis of what those prints are made up of. And then I also see right here it says advisory, rights advisory. No known restrictions on publication, which tells me I'm going to be able to use these pictures. I don't have to worry about attributions or copyright. There are no known restrictions on the publication and use of these. So now what I want to do is I want to get to that image. So if I click on the group of images over here, I see all of the images, which is great. And I'm still very interested in some of these ones that have to do with the funeral. And here's one that says it's Lincoln's hearse. Probably when the casket was taken off the train in Springfield, Illinois, it was put on this hearse and taken to its final resting place. So I'd like to take a look at that picture. And when it comes up, I can see it here. It looks really great. I want to use this image. I'm looking up here to see what the different formats I have. I think I'm going to look at this JPEG, and it's pretty good. I like the fact that it has sort of the original edges, and there's a color bar along the top. So now, in order to put this into Google Drive, all I need to do is right-click on it. There we go, and it says Save Image to Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what it's doing is I'm going to move this down so you can see it. It's actually saving the image. Now, I am not going to remember the image name 3G01834R.jpg. So one of the things I want to do is I always want to rename my images. And this one I'm going to put Lincoln's hearse. And hearse. And if I can spell it, there we go, hearse. And then we're going to say apply. And I'm done with that, so I'm going to close that. Now, if I bounce right back over here to my Google Drive, And I'm going to go way back up the top here. I'm going to notice I now have a picture on my drive that says Lincoln Source. Okay, that's great, but like I said, we don't want all these pictures out here floating around on Drive trying to keep track of everything. So I want to put those into that Timeline Images folder we created in the previous tutorial. So I'm going to click right there, and I'm going to go up here to Organize, and then I will look for alphabetically for that Timeline Images folder. And here it is right here, and we're going to click on that, and we're going to move it. And now when I click in Timeline Images, ta-da, my picture is there. So that's really how this works. Every time you find a picture, you can right-click on it. In Chromebooks, you should be able to do that right-click trick and do Save to Google Drive. And then you'll rename it after it loads in so that you can remember what these things are called, remember what these images are. Remember, you can always take a view of your folder by switching from List to switching to Grid, and then you can actually see your images as well. All right, well, happy primary source searching, and please let us know in the library if you have any questions or you run into any problems. We're here to help you, and we know sometimes it can be kind of tricky to find all the different primary sources that you're looking for, but we definitely have a few tricks up our sleeve. Happy primary source searching!